Good morning and welcome to For Fantasy's Sake, the Quad City's first and only fantasy football show. We are sponsored, as always, by Mobile Party Experience. I am your host, Doug Green from the Island of Misfit Toys. The guy who looks like Santa Claus is DJ Jarvis. And this week, as a special guest, we have Saint Nick along with us.
That
Nick,
was solid.
Yeah, not bad, huh? Nick, the most important question you will answer today. How do you feel about deviled eggs?
Oh, deviled eggs. I can get down with some deviled eggs. One. I'll do one, and then I'll move on to something else. But yeah, deviled eggs are good.
But are they the 101 of your Thanksgiving plate?
Oh my goodness. They usually don't even get drafted sometimes. So
Thank you.
I don't know if a UDFA can go 101.
Thank you for being the reasonable person here. I'm going to ask that every time we have a guest host, just so that you are aware. That is the first question out of the box.
Yeah. But thanks for having me on. I'm excited. The Saint Nick reference is great because I'm hoping to come bearing gifts today. So stay tuned and shout out to everybody tuning in. Hopefully some of my people are coming in the chat and not heckling me too much. But yeah, excited to get started.
Nice.
This is that Doug said that the first rule is there are no rules. I guess the first rule is definitely you have to accept that people are going to heckle you. Probably, in my case, it's always Doug. Jordan Rangel, he's like our OG for fantasy's sake fan of the year. And he'll definitely be in here heckling at some point.
Let me get a quick heckle in if there's no rules. We got to bring this up with my co-host Mike Sicoli for the Monday Night Hammer. We'll be on here tomorrow at 7:30 p.m. Eastern time, kind of breaking down what happened. But he said, and this is a very hot topic on Twitter, that Javonte Williams is the future of the NFL, and at all costs you should be trading for him in Dynasty. And he actually just traded away CMC in a deal that involved Javonte Williams. What do you guys think about Javonte Williams this week?
Interesting.
This week, I think he's the future of the NFL.
Yeah, this week I'm a fan because, well, it's largely noted that the Chiefs are bad at defense. I mean, they've been improved, but let's be realistic of who they've played and what the rosters have looked like over the last several weeks. So I like Williams, especially with no Melvin Gordon. I like Williams' ability to be, towards that bottom of the RB1 conversation this week. But as far as the future of the NFL, we'll see.
Yeah. I mean, for the nerds like me, all the advanced metrics like forced missed tackles and yards after contact, all that stuff, he comes in really, really, really well, kind of like up there with like Nick Chubb. But he doesn't really have the draft capital that Nick Chubb did. I think Mike Boone is going to mix in a little bit today. Maybe burying the lead here, but Melvin Gordon is doubtful to play, if not already ruled out. So Javonte Williams it's going to be interesting to see if he doesn't score 20 plus fantasy points. I think Twitter might actually light on fire.
Fair.
Almost certainly. All right, so let's talk a little bit of quarterbacks this morning. And the big question that I've kind of seen running around the last week or two is Russ cooked?
Yeah, I want to say no. I want to say there's some kind of disinterest in playing in Seattle, but they've also noted that they need to get DK the ball more. And I think once we're able to see that happen, things are going to change offensively there.
Yeah, if you have Russell Wilson, I think you play him. I really think he came back a little too early from that mallet finger injury. Squeaky wheel narrative with DK. He's definitely not happy with his usage. They did say that they need to get him the ball. I mean, if you have someone else, like a Taylor Heineke sitting on the wire or something, and you're favored to win by a lot, and you don't need Russ to cook today for you to win, then you might want to look elsewhere. But if you're not favored to win and you have Russ, you got to play him. You got to play him and DK.
Yeah, just because of the draft capital involved with Russ, you usually end up are kind of forced unless you've caught somebody, unless you want to roll the dice with Minshew this week, which is a lovely segue by yours truly. Because Jalen Hurts will not play today, and it is mustache mania there in Philly. Nick, you are actually there, boots on the ground. How excited is the community to see Gardner Minshew?
Yeah, I'm here in Philly. I'm excited. A brother in arms, fellow mustache haver, Gardner Minshew. It'll be interesting. I mean, if Gardner Minshew comes out, this is what happens in Philly. If Gardner Minshew comes out and throws for 3 touchdowns and 250 yards, the city's gonna lose its mind, because I've been to a couple games this year. I was at the Chargers game where they really lost. It was a really competitive game, close game, and Justin Herbert just carved them up. So you have a guy like Justin Herbert, young, the future of the NFL. That's a real future of the NFL right there. But he carves up the Eagles, and I mean, it really came down to a couple of sailed passes by Jalen Hurts. Now, granted, he made some amazing runs as well, where he hurdled a couple players, but Philly fans don't see that. So they'll be calling for Gardner Minshew to continue starting if he plays well today. Guarantee it. So it'll be exciting.
Deej, what is your expectations on Mr. Minshew?
Pain. No, because I as we've talked. What was that?
I said that's probably what's going to happen. Is just a lot of pain.
Yeah, as we've talked about in the past, I'm kind of bought into Hurts as a fantasy guy, and so it's really hard to buy into the fact that somebody's going to be able to come in and replace him. And as we've talked a billion times in the past, we finally had real life Jalen Hurts catching up to fantasy Jalen Hurts, to where there was a lot of similarities. He was able to actually win some games. I know that there's been some hiccups here. We expected them to beat the Giants, and he kind of disappeared last week, but we finally had that catch up there. And like Nick said, we're going to have a bunch of irrational people if Minshew comes out here and performs. It's what happens. It's when the leadership of a team comes out and says, yeah, as long as they continue to play well, and then they get hurt, it's like, oh, well, if this other guy comes in and plays like him, new is always better. # Barney Stinson. And so there's going to be a lot of love thrown around there for him.
And I mean, they're playing the Jets. So, I mean, I don't know if Philly will take that into account whenever they crown Gardner Minshew as the prince that was promised. But I think Gardner Minshew is he kind of is a lot of what these Philly fans want to be. I'll say that.
I feel like we've thrown around a lot of times as fans of any team where we're over irrational about our team. I mean, I feel like I was crowning Patrick Mahomes the greatest of all time 2 years ago. I mean, he may very well at some point be, but.
You mean 2 weeks ago? You mean 2 days ago? You mean 2 minutes ago? Chiefs. Chris isn't here to help me out. You have rankings, sir? We can make fun of those.
We're going to start with Nick's rankings. So let's.
Okay. We can start by making fun of those first. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. So my rankings are here. The way I do this is I don't sit down and try to pick out which person goes number 1, number 2. I'm aggregating a lot of rankings, so I'm using a little bit of code. You might have seen it on the Monday Night Hammer. And I go out and I'm pulling a bunch of expert rankings from ESPN, Fantasy Pros, combining them with a machine learning model through this website called Gridiron AI. And then also with the projections from Establish the Run, which are really, really, really good projections. They spend a lot of time on them. They have their own machine learning stuff going on in there. But this is the future for projections, hopefully. And on this season, they're coming in on about they're scoring really well in the analytics. And so I'm pretty happy with these. But the cool thing is they match up pretty well with other rankings in the industry. So right up the top, Lamar Jackson, number 1 overall. He's been balling this year. They've been airing it out more. What do you guys think about Lamar Jackson against Pittsburgh?
He's actually my QB1 as well this week. So our rankings actually look a lot alike.
Yeah, that's reassuring because sometimes like things can get a little wonky when I'm
I think
going
that's
out there.
reassuring more for me than for you. It might
Yeah.
be really bad for you.
Yeah, maybe. But yeah, so Lamar Jackson is on the road today, I believe, in Pittsburgh, and shout out Pittsburgh, and that game could shoot out, so you could see a big score for Lamar. The running game, they just don't really have a whole lot of talent. But that brings us to the next guy, Tom Brady. What do you guys think about Tom Brady? He's been pretty disappointing here. Is it because he's old and his arm is starting to go?
It's been really weird. They've been running the ball a lot more with Fournette, and so they've kind of taken the ball out of his hands. I think they realize that to win in the postseason, they've got to do a lot more of what Brady's teams have done in the past, kind of take the air out of the ball, play defense, and so you've seen a lot of that. Atlanta's a really tasty matchup, though, and I also have him as my QB2 this week.
Yeah,
I think the big name where we're really different this week is on Joe Burrow.
Okay. Yeah, let's talk about Joe Burrow.
Because I have Burrow as my QB9 this week.
And where do I have him here?
You got QB 14.
Yeah, so again, they're that game is interesting because I really like Justin Herbert in that game. He's my QB5. That game could shoot out, and if that does, like you're gonna be more correct than I am on that. And it's got a high over under. The thing is if Cincinnati kind of has this identity where if they're able to run the ball and stay and like work the clock with Joe Mixon, he's doing really well this year. They're a little bit more balanced, and their run defense is and their defense overall has been a lot more solid than we've expected. So Joe Burrow hasn't had to kind of throw the ball 60 times like he was his rookie year. So that's probably why I have him a little bit lower. Yeah.
How are you feeling about Kyler? You have him as QB8. Realistically, like with my rankings, I would have had him a little bit further down because you have Dak and Jalen Hurts. I do not because I take out the Thursday guys and don't expect Hurts to play. So we're about the same with Kyler. Are you expecting him to kind of come back and be the guy he was?
Yeah. I think Kyler they'll probably get up pretty early. I mean, Chicago's just a bad team. Arizona's just good. I mean, they were winning games without Kyler Murray, and now he's back. And even Kyler Murray, 80% is enough to just trounce the the Bears. So I expect them to get up early, probably on the back of some Kyler Murray touchdown passes, and then kind of just clock the game with James Conner. So, yeah, he could have a big game, but yeah, I'm very much in like DFS mindset, so I'm not really playing Kyler Murray a whole lot this week just because I don't think you have to go there. But Kyler Murray, like if you've had him and been waiting to start him, like I would start him without any reservation. He sounds fine.
Absolutely. And I don't know how much Superflex 2 quarterback leagues you play. And if you have our stream up, I have my QB2s up here. Is there any guy here you're kind of obviously maybe you're trusting Tua as your one quarterback? Maybe. Is there anybody here where you're really excited about this week?
For the QB2 tier, I don't mind Tua. I actually would probably put him up there at number 13 as well. In terms of like who's my best QB2. Taylor Heineke is also popping really well just because that game in Las Vegas could shoot out a little bit. Not really on Jimmy Garoppolo as much, just because those Seattle, San Francisco games that's in division, they can really plug down. And like we've seen plenty of like 13-3 games out of those two teams. So not really on Jimmy Garoppolo. I think, Brandon Ayuk, George Kittle, Elijah Mitchell, like that's where the ball's going. I just don't know if the two teams will find a whole lot of success today.
The ball is not going to George Kittle. I can tell you that for sure.
It's not going to George Kittle. I don't know. Deebo Samuel's out. That's an interesting one.
You know how frustrating it is to have a team with Darren Waller and George Kittle on, and they get 3 catches for 49 yards.
Yeah, that's rough. It was correct according to everybody to get one of those high priced tight ends earlier in your draft, round 2, round 3. Look at us now.
I call that poetic justice for trying to hoard 3 top end tight ends in a league.
Definitely a bold strategy.
We'll see if it pays off. So Nick, I do have a question for you. I know you're not from here, but do you know what football fanatics in the Quad Cities love more than Sunday football?
What's that?
They love tailgating and partying before, during, and after their favorite college football games, including the Michigan trouncing of the University of Iowa Hawkeyes last night. And you know what? If you're looking for, somebody to help you out with that, Mobile Party Experience has the hookup for all your tailgating needs. Mobile Party Experience offers solutions for all types of party throwers and goers. They have towable trailers that offer music, TVs, gaming, private bathrooms with running water, flushable toilets, beverage dispensers, coolers, grills and utensils, tables, chairs, and tents. They have all the amenities you could want or need to host a tailgate, party, or event. Find them at their website, my-mpx.com, or on Facebook at Mobile Party Experience. Sunday is still the best day at Kavanaugh's Hilltop Bar and Grill. While your favorite Jamokes aren't on the deck talking fantasy football, they're still one of the best places in the Quad Cities for your football viewing pleasures. Their back deck is ready to go for football season. The sides are up and the heat is on to protect you from Mother Nature, where you can enjoy the Bears getting stomped by the Cardinals. You can't enjoy the Packers this week because they're on a bye, but you can enjoy any of your other out-of-market teams. If outside isn't your thing, you can head on into their remodeled inside bar area and watch NFL Sunday Ticket on their numerous screens and play their adult video games. I hear they have the loosest slots in the Quad Cities. That's Kavanaugh's Hilltop Bar and Grill, 1228 30th Street in Rock Island, the non-bubble home of For Fantasy's Sake. Football season, we're getting close to the end here, guys. But if you spent Sunday watching football anywhere but Van's Pizza Pub and Grill, you've been doing it wrong. Van's Pizza Pub and Grill, 3333 North Harrison Street in Davenport, is the best place to catch all your favorite games, and there's still time to make it part of your Sunday routine. Start your meal off with their famous McGuire's Original Nachos or Bready Nuggets. Then ask about one of their original QC-style pizzas, or be your own quarterback and call an audible and create your own. The Vans crew will be sure your play call hits pay dirt every time. Van's Pizza Pub and Grill, 3333 North Harrison Street in Davenport. Come get served. Doug, we're on DFS now, huh?
Yeah. That's how the show's been working for the last 3 months.
Don't be a jerk. You didn't go away. So, Mr. Nick, we're normally joined by Brian. He's out of the picture today. Happy birthday to Brian's wife. I will ask you my favorite question to ask Brian to lead off this segment every week. What's your favorite stack this week?
Oh man, my favorite stack. All right, so there's a couple different ways that I would answer this question. So first of all, if you're playing like cash games, like head-to-heads, or like 3-person with your buddies, you can't really go wrong with like Lamar Jackson, Mark Andrews, and stack, just because tight end is such a dumpster fire. So any stack that I can get the tight end involved in, I really like. Something that's a little bit less popular, and you can play it in like a tournament with like 300 plus people, is going with Lamar Jackson stack again, but this time run it with Marquise Brown and Pat Freiermuth in the tight end slot. That's probably my favorite one, just in general, just because Ben's arm shot. They love Pat Freiermuth there in Pittsburgh. He's a touchdown scoring machine, especially if you're playing on FanDuel. Pat Freiermuth on FanDuel is awesome. And Marquise Brown, for some reason, like he gets a ton of air yards, ton of targets, and people don't play him. So that's really, a good.
I'm not really familiar. What makes Freiermuth more valuable on FanDuel?
Just because it's a half PPR.
Okay.
So touchdowns mean a little bit more over there.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
And I love that you answered my second question with your first question. I always like to ask Brian how he's bringing that back for the week. And so, bringing back Lamar and Hollywood with Freiermuth is definitely an interesting thing. What are your thoughts staying in that game? What are your thoughts with Deontay Johnson? Are you kind of staying away from the price tag, or what are your thoughts there?
He's not going to get too crazy in terms of like how many people are going to roster him. Deontay Johnson, he'll probably come in right around like 15% of lineups in like the big like $1 million tournaments.
Mm-hmm.
So you're kind of not really gaining a whole lot on the field if he really smashes. I don't think that he has a ceiling just because Big Ben's arm is shot. Like the touchdown equity is not there.
Uh-huh.
He's a great floor play. Yeah, he's going to get a ton of targets. And you can definitely bring it back with him. I probably would prefer to bring it back with Claypool, though, just because not as many people will be on him. And he gets targets all over the field as well. So,
Absolutely.
And in the off chance that Ben, he's been telling people in his circle that he's going to retire. So he might come in a little bit emotional at home today.
Right.
It could be a big Ben Roethlisberger day. I mean, he's not as good as he once was, but maybe he'll be as good once as he ever was. One of those.
I love the Toby Keith reference here. So I'm going to jump the shot sheet decently here, but we'll talk about this more as we get into the tight end segment. We have a lot of tight ends to choose from at this point in time, especially. So are you kind of saving your money at tight end where Andrews and Kittle are at that ceiling at 6,000 and 5,900 and going a little lower with like a Pat Freiermuth or even a Gronk at 53?
Mm-hmm. So the two most popular plays will be Gronk and Foster Moreau. People love Foster Moreau because I think he's 2,700 or something on DraftKings. He's a play that you play him in cash, but if you're in anything larger than like 100 people, you probably want to stay away from Moreau because you have James O'Shaughnessy there, who's probably my favorite tight end play just on the slate for tournaments.
Big fan of James O'Shag Hennessy.
Yeah, O'Shag Hennessy. Just because Dan Arnold's out, they like throwing to the tight end over there. I don't know a whole lot about him, but I mean, he's projecting for enough targets where you can kind of just close your eyes and hope for the best. If I'm going to pay up at tight end, I like Mark Andrews. I really like TJ Hawkinson. No one's going to play him. DeAndre Swift is out, so the target's got to go somewhere. He was getting about 8 or 9 targets a game. Some other tight ends that I really like you said, there's a lot, but I've been landing mostly on cheap tight end. So your Freiermuth and whatnot. Staying away from Gronk just because you never know where the ball is going to go there.
But he's vintage Gronk.
That and he'll have 2 touchdowns. So
yeah, he's vintage Gronk according to the NFL Twitter last week.
Yeah,
I know that we can save a ton of cash there at tight end. Where are some other places like running back and wide receiver where you're trying to save some cash, get some guy who might blow up for a few grand?
So with Minshew starting for the Eagles, a play I really like is Miles Sanders. He's kind of mispriced given the fact that Jordan Howard's out. Another one that's probably everyone's favorite play on the slate and the main slate is Antonio Gibson, who he's priced at 5,700 on DraftKings, and I think it's even like he's even cheaper comparatively on FanDuel. And the reason why is because they played on Monday night, and J.D. McKissick got injured in that game, and the pricing is not taking that into account. So he's almost like a lock in cash. Sony Michel is kind of a sneaky one especially if people aren't paying attention. Like Darrell Henderson has not been ruled out yet. He's still a game time decision, but insiders are reporting that he's really, really doubtful to play. And Sony Michel is 4,300 on DraftKings, which is way, way, way too cheap. It's almost like it's hard to like spend your money this week because there's so many good running back plays.
Absolutely.
Alexander Madison is a little bit more expensive. He's priced as he should be with Dalvin Cook out. Let's see here. James Conner is a really good cheap play under 6,000 on DraftKings. Elijah Mitchell. I don't have his price here, but he's another one that pops in a lot of the models that I run.
6,000 for Mitchell.
Yeah, 6,000. So Connor, Mitchell, Gibson. If you really want to get sneaky, Barkley is probably too cheap. This is the cheapest. I mean, I've seen Barkley in a really long time. but yeah, I probably wouldn't get too cute with Barkley or like a Josh Jacobs. I'm staying mostly with like James Conner, Elijah Mitchell, Miles Sanders, Sony Michel, Leonard Fournette, just to kind of pivot off of a very popular stack that Brady stacks with Gronk, Brady stacks with Godwin. The one thing that worries me about that Brady stack is like they're going to be able to do whatever they want against Atlanta. So
Likely. Yeah.
Yeah. Jamal Williams is also in play. I think he's priced up a little bit. But yeah, I'm trying to play the ones where the pricing's a little bit off. So Antonio Gibson really, really stands out. Miles Sanders really stands out. Sony Michel really stands out. There's your three.
Is there anybody you're definitely getting into 100% of your lineups? I mean, I know 100% is you're not really investing in one guy that much, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, so kind of a really, really a guy I'm landing on a lot is I'm going to have one of those three running backs in every single one of my lineups. And Antonio Gibson, Sony Michel, Miles Sanders, Elijah Mitchell, James Conner, they all have pretty solid floor ceiling combos. They're all going to be really popular. So give me the cheapest guy. So Sony Michel is probably going to end up on almost all of my lineups.
Okay.
Just because, and this is just the sickness that I have, like the late swap is so valuable, and he plays in the late game. Sony Michel does. So if I'm in a tournament or even in a head-to-head and I'm down, and I know that like a lot of people are going to have Sony Michel because they're anticipating that Darrell Henderson's out, I might pivot to Odell or Van Jefferson, who are similarly priced. Van Jefferson specifically, just to get some ceiling and kind of shake things up a little bit. But yeah, I like the flexibility that Sony Michel gives you in a lot of different ways.
Where are you kind of saving money? Where are you looking to save money at wide receiver?
For wide receiver, one that I like, it's a little scary. I really like Devontae Parker. He's priced as if he's still on IR. I think he's at 3,900 on DraftKings. Another really gross one, but he led the team in snaps, or sorry, he was second in the team in snaps last week is Laquan Treadwell.
That is an ugly name.
Yeah, it's an ugly one, but I think he got like 8+ targets last week, and that game could shoot out. They're going to have to keep up with the Rams or at the very least have a ton of garbage time. But I'm not landing on him as much in my lineups just because I do like Oshag Hennessy so much. So I don't want to play too many Jags. You'll get yourself in trouble. Josh Reynolds is a cheap wide receiver you can play. You got the Goff Reynolds connection from their time in LA together. He scored a touchdown. I think that it's in a dome. They're at home. Again, Swift is out, so those targets have to go somewhere. I think the Vikings are going to put up points, so I really like Reynolds. A couple other ones here.
I think that I'm not that I'm willing to spend money on it, but I had forgot to mention this in the quarterback is I think that Goff is a sneaky sleeper this week because Minnesota's given up a ton of points. Minnesota's going to score a ton of points. And so I'd be interested. The Lions have showed that they can score points. I mean, they had those first couple of games this year that they put up a ton of points. So I think that might be a sneaky 2 quarterback play if you're really desperate. Yeah,
definitely. If Goff's out there, I just don't think that like I said, I like Taylor Heineke a little bit more if he's on the wire. I think there's some other options I like better, but I agree with you. I think Goff is going to be able to move the ball a little bit more. I mean, he's still so bad. But I think that at the very least, I want to be mixing in some Lions players to kind of bring back. I feel like it's a good way to save money is investing in some of the one of these Lions wide receivers.
So here's a name that I'm putting together a couple lineups here as we're talking here. Is a name that I found interesting here was Hunter Renfrow.
Yeah, you can just lock him in for 60 plus. Yeah. He's got a ceiling. He doesn't quite have the ceiling of some of the other people that are around the same price tag on DraftKings. Let me see what his price is here. One moment. Okay. What's his price on DraftKings?
Yeah,
58. So right around him, you have T. Higgins, which he'll be.
Those were actually the 2 players I was flirting between there.
Yeah, I probably prefer T. Higgins there, and then also Michael Pittman's cheaper. Um, he's a little bit more popular than Higgins, but I really like Michael Pittman. He just missed like a pretty big game the last time they played. If you watched it, he's getting targets in the end zone. No one wants to play Mike Williams, so if you're playing in a huge tournament, like I would get off a Hunter Renfrow and play Mike Williams because he's getting targets and whatnot. But I mean, the Chargers have kind of been broken recently, and has a lot to do with their offensive line. And they're getting one. I think they're getting their left guard back today. So theoretically, if Herbert has more time to throw, he should be able to let the play develop a little bit more and target Mike Williams down the field a little bit more, which I think it has more to do with the offensive line, why he hasn't been playing as well than anything.
Before I get an angry message to Doug that we need to go to commercial, where are you going defensively? I know that defense isn't pretty. Is that a Cardinals thing? Is that a Bucks thing? Where are you going?
So the most popular one on DraftKings, and I think probably on FanDuel as well, will be Miami. Just a real easy tip for everybody. There is no correlation between ownership and points on defense. So whatever the highest one is, just exit out. Just do not play Miami's defense. That's a very good rule to follow. 9 times out of 10, it's not going to get you in any trouble. The defenses that I'm landing on is if I'm paying up, I do like Arizona's defense. I like Pittsburgh's defense. I mean, Lamar can put up a good game and still throw 3-4 interceptions.
Absolutely.
The one
As
I'm
in last week
is Washington's defense. They've been playing better, weirdly, without Chase.
Yeah.
Maybe something scheme-wise is starting to click for some of their younger players or something, but they actually have been playing better. And you can pair him with Antonio Gibson. Pairing a running back with your defense is always a good move. Not really so much on the road. So honestly, a lot of times I'm just kind of punting defense and going with the Lions and just hoping for the best. It's just defense is so gross that I tend to spend down and find other plays elsewhere.
Absolutely. All right, so that's our DFS segment for the day. As always, if you have any questions that we didn't address here in the DFS segment, go ahead and send them into our Facebook, our Twitter, whatever, comment. We'll answer those at the end of the show. I do love talking DFS because I have absolutely no money and no time to invest in DFS, but I love playing it. I'm a very low risk. I might play I get into the 50 cent and the 25 cent games because I just like playing. I just like having skin, and I've gotten to the point where I really love my dynasty leagues, but redrafts just become a lot of work. Not that I can't do it, but I think in redraft you want to do some grinding, waiver wires. That's definitely important, and I just have found with a 2-year-old and a full-time job that has me not on the computer all day has just really hampered my abilities to mess with the waiver wire all the time.
Yeah, I'm with you. I love the grind. I love running the projections and stuff and I'm a little bit crazier. I'm still trying to kind of learn specifically because this year I've been good at getting all the right pieces, identifying them. It's just putting them in the right combinations. Well, I've been playing a little bit lower stakes, but trying to find that perfect recipe, and I think I'm close. I had a lot more time this weekend to play around with it, so hopefully we have some winners out there. Oh, hello!
Say hi, Harper.
Hi. We have any? What are the Chiefs going to do today?
Well, so my wife is just not said very nice things. My wife's a Broncos fan, so it's a fun time in the household. So let's go to commercial. On the backside of the commercial, we can talk some more about that. We're going to talk about tight ends. Doug just hit me with the TikTok. So commercials, and then we'll talk tight ends. Located in the Belgium neighborhood of 7th Street in Moline, Clinch Draft House Pizza and Grill is home to some of the Quad City's best food and drink specials. On Sundays, there's no better place to be. Clint's is serving up 75-cent wings and $4 Bloody Marys all day. And your favorite team playing in those out-of-market games, you'll never miss a second of the action on one of their 10 screens with NFL Sunday Ticket. And after you've had your wing and bloody fix, finish off your football watching experience with one of their famous Quad City style pizzas. And folks, they know pizza. They've been spinning QC style pies for the last 22 years. It's probably longer than that, maybe 25 years. This has been a commercial for a while. So make Clint's part of your Sunday football routine. Clint's Draft House Pizza and Grill, 7th Street in Moline. Who doesn't need a solid handcuff on their fantasy squad? Grab a bite to eat at Clint's Draft House while watching the noon games, and then head on over across the Moline Rock Island border to the corner tap for some libations during the 3 o'clock games. Every Sunday is fun day at the corner with $3 Tall Boys, Bloody Marys, Jack Daniels, and $2 PBR drafts. Head into the corner tap, 4018 14th Avenue, Rock Island, and get into the end zone. So, Doug, we have things to talk about in regards to tight ends.
Yes. Yes.
So,
Yes.
Nick, we were kind of tossing this around last night, Doug and I, as I was kind of throwing my rankings on these slides. Are we in like the golden era for fantasy tight ends? I mean, you have between like 15 and 18 guys that could be a tight end one week in and week out. Like, are we in the situation where we always say, and there's up and comers in college too that are definitely going to be valuable guys? Are we kind of in that area where we're just looking at viable tight ends week in and week out, as opposed to where you have to get those top guys?
Yeah, I think going into this year, a lot of people, me included, wanted to get one of those tight ends just because of the edge that they offer you in terms of like targets. It's like being able to play a wide receiver essentially in the tight end slot is a really good way to kind of gain some edge on your league.
Uh-huh.
Unfortunately, we've been hit with what I think is mostly bad luck. If these players are on the field, Darren Waller's getting targets, Kittle's getting targets. They've been injured, they've been banged up, they've seen some weird game scripts. I still think that that's the right way to go. Pitts and Mark Andrews and Hawkinson is kind of that next tier. Hawkinson's been disappointing just because it's a bad team. Mark Andrews has been crushing. Pitts all of his like analytics numbers are amazing. He buy low on Pitts if there's an opportunity, because he is going to absolutely explode one of these days, and you're never going to be able to get him off of someone's team in Dynasty. But as far as like your Dalton Schultz, Dawson Knox, Mike Gesicki, these are exciting players that, I mean, they're way more involved in the offense than I think in years past. And honestly, it's just like you can kind of pick a tight end up at any point in the draft and have a pretty good shot at a good score. So I think it might be changing a little bit. I don't know that you have to get one of these top guys like you used to, just because the college game is changing a little bit and these hybrid wide receiver tight ends are starting to become more of a thing coming into the NFL.
I saw an interesting tweet Friday about how Pat Freiermuth is what we wanted Kyle Pitts to be, like what we wanted Kyle Pitts to be this year.
Yeah, that's a tough one. I think they're both going to be really good. Pitts is just like his ability to like beat legitimate corners on the outside is unparalleled. We haven't really ever seen a tight end be able to do that. Yeah. It's just unfortunate that Matt Ryan doesn't seem to be able to get him the ball.
Here's the interesting list I made, and you kind of addressed all these guys: Kelsey, Waller, Kittle, Andrews. We kind of have that resurgence like we talked about, except you just never know with Gronk, Hawk, Pitts, and I called him Penn State Pat, Schultz, Knox, Goddard, Gesicki, Logan Thomas, Zach Ertz, Noah Fant. And then you have guys like Hunter Henry and CJ Uzama who can definitely win you a week. And then I'm a diehard. I know a lot of people here, not on this guy, but the next guy. I know a lot of people were darling with Cole Kmet this offseason, and I think eventually that might be a thing. And then I just can't quit Evan Ingram. So, I mean, you have a nice little list of guys who are in that. We actually have tight end twos. I think this is the first time I've ever played fantasy football where tight end twos exist.
Yeah. But again, if you're playing in like a tight end premium league, I still think you need like a top 6 guy. And it's all those guys you named have popped up for big games here and there, but who's consistently given you those tight end top six tight end 1 numbers? It's few and far between. Like I said, it's Kelsey and Mark Andrews, really, honestly. Pat Freiermuth back end of the year, but it's taken him some time. Like Kyle Pitts front end of the year. I think both of those rookies will end up being kind of the elite of the elite moving forward. But I think, what you're trading for there, if you're taking a guy like Dawson Knox or even Rob Gronkowski or Pat Freiermuth, like you're trading consistency. You're kind of starting them and just hoping for the best.
All right, let's quickly take a look of our week 13s and before we go back to another commercial. Trying to see where we're really separated. Yeah, you're a little lower on Knox than I am, but everything else is kind of, and you have Fant at 12 as opposed to Thomas.
Yeah, I have Fant ahead of Thomas. That game in Washington's interesting. Not sure what to think about that. It's actually in Las Vegas. So Thomas is kind of banged up a little bit, but that tight end role in Washington is so solid. So if he's healthy and running a bunch of routes, I could definitely see him outplaying Fant for sure.
I mean, he had a touchdown on Monday night that they said decided wasn't a touchdown. So
yeah. Dallas Goedert's interesting. Just because it didn't seem like I've seen it with my own eyes. Jalen Hurts really struggles to get Dallas Goedert the ball downfield, whereas like Minshew, he's not great, but he's definitely one of the better backups, I'd say. And I think he can distribute the ball, and you might see Dallas Goedert finally pop up for a big game after Ertz left.
Yeah, I've been a big Goddard fan here. Who's kind of your guy that might not be on this list that if you're really desperate for a tight end, if you have a guy on a bye that you're kind of going after?
Oh, man.
O'Shag Hennessy?
Yeah, definitely O'Shag Hennessy. Hopefully, again, this is kind of in retrospect, like picking up Foster Moreau. I think he'll see plenty of volume today. And it's just those are the 2 guys I'm looking at. Here's a deep cut. If you're still sitting there today and someone has O'Shag Hennessy, someone has Foster Moreau, Brevin, I think his name is Brevin Jordan. The tight end for the Texans. I mean, he's projecting for a pretty solid role against the Colts, who like to give up a lot to the tight end. They're, I believe, the 3rd worst defense in terms of fantasy points scored against them in the last 4 weeks. So it's recent. Yeah,
I think that they gave up a big game early in the year to Pharaoh Brown for the Texans. So
also a deep cut.
Very deep cut. Yeah.
All right, so I guess we'll head into commercial. Backside, we'll talk running backs. Doug didn't give me the hurry up and go to commercial, Deej, so we're good to go there.
Yeah, because you still got a minute.
Bad Boys Pizza isn't hard to find. Now serving in 3 different locations: Moline, Davenport, and downtown Davenport at River Music Experience. Their restaurant and bar stays open late, not only on the weekends, but weekdays too. Bad Boys specializes in Quad City style pizza and daily specials. So be sure, Nick, when I'm done with this commercial, we'll explain to you what Quad City style pizza is.
Okay.
Be sure to keep an eye out for those. They also offer food carryout and pizza delivery options at your convenience. They have a full bar at all 3 locations with 24 taps in Moline, 32 taps in Davenport, and 20 in downtown Davenport. They also host exciting events such as Quad City Storm Parties, NFL Sunday ticket giveaways, and other sports viewing festivities. Bad Boys Pizza always has the coldest beer, and the atmosphere is always welcoming. For great people, drinks, and Quad City style pizza, choose Bad Boys. Durham Remodeling has been serving the Quad Cities area since 1973. With nearly 50 years of excellence on their track record, you'll see why it's so easy to trust their experts when it comes to all your home improvement projects. Durham Remodeling's work is 100% guaranteed, so you can rest assured that you're getting the best service around. Call 309-786-6715 for all your roofing, siding, flooring, windows, and painting needs. That's Durham Remodeling, 309-786-6715. It's Sunday Fun Day over at Frick's Tap. Iowa's second oldest bar is guaranteed to have your favorite team on one of their 13 TV screens with NFL Sunday Ticket. Get on into Frick's now, where they will be joined by Smoked Out Smokehouse every Sunday. And boy, does their menu look great. Barbecue smoked ribs, pork chops, wings, you name it, you can get it during your football game over at Frick's. So for Frick's sake, head into Frick's Tap, 1402 West 3rd Street, Davenport. And I just want to quick out, they weren't in that commercial break. Quickly give a shout out to Clint's Draft House and also Brick and Motor Boutique. They each donated a $25 gift card to help us raise some money for Toys for Tots. So I'm very grateful for that. We ended up raising between the fantasy football league that we put on and that raffle, raising over $500 for Toys for Tots. So Nate Joyce, one of our founders, and I were able to go out shopping yesterday. My wife went as well to shop for toys for the kids of the Quad Cities, which was awesome. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, thank you to everyone who donated. That was really an amazing experience. With that,
we missed Doug, who had some stuff going on, but
yeah,
glad that he's here today, because I could never host this show.
You could, but nobody else would be able to talk.
Yeah, I would talk for all 90 minutes. So
Yeah.
All right. So you want to explain to Nick what Quad City Styles Pizza is before we move on?
Yeah, so Nick, basically what it is they cut it in strips. They put malt on the crust, and the toppings are underneath of the cheese.
Okay.
And it's just delicious.
So the toppings are underneath. All right. There's a pizza place near me where the sauce is on top of the cheese.
The Quad City style pizza.
That's Quad City style?
Or not, Chicago style pizza. Sorry, I'm trying to type something and.
Yeah, that sounds pretty good.
Yeah, it's delicious, and I'd love for at some point for you and Sicoli to be able to get out here and maybe hit up a baseball game, have some Quad City style pizza. We have this really good ice cream joint. You could stay with Doug. He has no kids in his house. It'd be great.
Yeah, definitely. I got to get that Quad Cities pizza.
We also have this thing called taco pizza here. I'm not a huge fan because I don't like taco pizza, but it's a thing, and it's allegedly delicious.
Yeah, I've actually had that before. I'm from Central PA. That's a pretty popular. You put like sour cream and like the taco meat and lettuce and cheese, and it's pretty good.
Yeah. I'll tell you what. You can come stay. We'll put you on, but you have to bring Yingling with you.
Okay, I'll bring Yingling. Shout out Pottstown, PA.
All right, so what are we moving on to? Running backs?
Yeah.
Is that our – okay. The running runs. What do you want to do with Saquon? That is an excellent question. I don't know. He seems like he's questionable every week, and with the draft capital, you have to kind of play him, but I've got him in one league, and I'm just like, I don't know what to do with this guy. I kind of leave him until I hear he's not playing.
That actually got me into trouble in one league a couple of weeks ago of leaving a guy in until I heard that they weren't playing, and I forgot to swap them out. So
yeah, and I don't know what's going on with this spreadsheet. It keeps breaking. Zach Wilson is not a running back. Tyrod Taylor is not a running back. So I'll just kind of discuss if you pull your rankings back up.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'll cross-reference with just the stuff that I have here. But with Saquon Barkley, I have him as RB9 right now. And yeah, I think I'm more confident about him this week than I was last week. I think he's getting healthier and healthier. Some tape guys are saying he doesn't have quite like the burst to plant your foot and kind of get upfield that he used to. So maybe he's still young, so I don't think he's done. I just think he's maybe still favoring his ankle a little bit. So I look for him to play well against the Dolphins today. So I'm in on Barkley.
I want to preface this away for you why Doug kind of asks that question. Now, I've never asked Doug, hey, Doug, who's your favorite college football team? But I'm 75% sure it's Penn State. And he's never confirmed this. But, man, I've never met a guy who loves people from Penn State more than Doug Green.
My favorite college football team is the St. Ambrose Fighting Bees. Let's be clear about that.
Okay.
Just so happens that the guys that Penn State produce happen to fit the profiles of traits that I enjoy for fantasy football players. Yes, love me some Allen Robinson. Loved him coming out. Loved Saquon Barkley for obvious reasons. Just happens to be the way that it all fell.
It's the way the cookie crumbles.
Yeah, I'm with you there. I mean, I grew up 20 minutes from Penn State, so I definitely have an unconscious bias towards playing them and being on them. So I'm with you. Pat Freiermuth, Saquon Barkley, Chris Godwin to the moon today.
Allen Robinson for Mr. Green.
Oh, we're not going to talk about Allen Robinson right now.
He's inactive today.
Thank goodness. Get him somewhere else.
So that takes that decision out of your hands. I was never in on Christian Hackenberg, just for the record.
I know the big guy we're here different is Cordero Patterson. What are your thoughts there? Is this just a Tampa Bay thing or what? Because you have him as RB14. I've got him up here at 8.
Yeah, so, I mean, he is kind of settled into more of like a traditional running back role. They don't really have him lining up out wide as much, but I mean, the game could, I mean, it's hard to run on Tampa Bay. I don't think Atlanta's a team that's going to be able to figure it out all of a sudden. So I don't think that he's going to be very efficient with his carries. So that's probably why I have him lowered a little bit. I also I don't know how successful they're going to be just in general in this game. I think it'll be another week where the Bucks put up 30 in the first half, and then it's just kind of like, let's get out of here. So I just don't like the game script. But there's also a scenario where for him to kind of finish where you have him, the game's competitive and he's lining up out wide, running a ton of routes and getting the ball from Matt Ryan as dump offs. And he himself is talented. So I think that he can make the most out of those carries, but not really someone I'm on this week.
How do you kind of view him long term? I mean, he's 30 years old, but he hasn't taken a lot of hits.
I'm sorry, say that again.
How do you view him like long term, dynasty wise, whatever? Based on, I mean, he is 30, but he hasn't taken a lot of those like running back hits.
Yeah, you're right. He doesn't have as many miles on the tires. I don't have a ton of them just because, again, it's hard to kind of be really excited about a 30-year-old in dynasty. I would have to take a look at his contract situation. Is he going to be with Atlanta again next year?
I think he signed a 1-year deal.
Yeah, I think he's this year's version of Mike Davis. I think that he did enough to like earn a little bit more money in his next contract, which will probably be another 1-2 year type of deal. He's probably going to go somewhere and maybe they don't view him the same way as Landa does. Like a lot of what he's doing is just like, he's on like a team that's kind of like not really trying all that much. So I'm not really into him as much in dynasty.
Yeah. He's
a 1 year fully guaranteed contract.
Yep.
Yeah. So if you're not a contender, you probably should, if you still can, probably move Cordero Patterson.
Absolutely.
But yeah, Javonte Williams, you have here at RB17. That's That's interesting. That probably is a ranking where you think Mike Boone might play a little bit.
When I originally had done the rankings, I put them on the spreadsheet or the slide last night, and I just was tired and it was a long day. And so I would have moved him up to like the RB 11 or 12.
Yeah.
Had my brain actually been operating at 100%. Because I do think that's a tasty matchup for him.
Yeah, for sure.
What are your thoughts on like I think Montgomery was a guy I was definitely after, not maybe for this week, but going forward. What are your thoughts on a guy like David Montgomery?
I mean, I'm just never on him, for whatever reason. I think it has to do with like he's slow, but I mean, he gets plenty of volume. If that game can somehow stay competitive in Arizona with Andy Dalton at quarterback, I think he could be a great play. I don't think you're benching him in redraft league. Yeah, he gets a ton of volume. They love him there. The offense flows through him.
What do you? I mean, I know you said Henderson probably not playing.
Yeah.
Is there a guy you're definitely looking at? I mean, are you going a deep diving in the waiver wire? Or are you hoping you have a guy here?
Instead of Darrell Henderson. Yeah. So if you're in trouble with Darrell Henderson not being able to start, you can go grab Rex Burkhead, which is again just so gross. But he's the last man standing there. David Johnson's not playing. They don't really have anyone else. Mark Ingram got traded, so he's projecting for about 10 points. Like you can slot him into your flex or even your RB2 if you're desperate, and it's not going to kill you.
All right, we've got Miles Sanders there at 20, and then Boston Scott is active today. What's kind of your?
Huh? Yeah, Boston Scott's playing today.
Okay. Yeah, this morning I saw that was kind of a up in the air type of deal.
So what do you anticipate the split being there today?
Yeah, you're more in that situation there. So yeah, what do you think?
Yeah, so Miles Sanders is really like with the DFS stuff. I think he's a really good DFS play. The Boston Scott being active, it was an illness, so he was kind of sick all week. So it's just like if Miles Sanders gets the ball, it kind of lines up where Miles Sanders should be healthier than he's been in a while. They might want to lean on him a little bit more with Minshew. Who knows? Minshew might just love dumping off to Miles Sanders all of a sudden. I really like Miles Sanders. I probably wouldn't be plugging in Boston Scott if you have him, and I would be starting Miles Sanders really confidently, and I probably would have him a little higher than you
do. To truck down a few more miles here, Myles Gaskin's been really good in odd number weeks. Do you think that's a trend that continues here? I mean, or where are you looking at for Gaskin here?
So Philip Lindsay is inactive, which kind of was scaring me off of him this week. Philip Lindsay was signed by them recently. For some reason, the coaching staff just doesn't seem to want to give Myles Gaskin just like a workload. Mm-hmm. But he passes the eye test for me. I think he can have another good game here. I'm not sure about the even odd splits. I think like recently, just with like the context of the team, like I think they could get up here and kind of lean on Myles Gaskin a little bit more than we've seen.
I'm gonna get those splits for you here in a second, but I'll carry on. You guys can. So we got Scott here at 25, and then your Rex Burke here at 27.
Yeah, we have a question in the chat here about Darrell Williams, Kenyon Drake, or Boston Scott. For me, I need to take a look at Darrell Williams' projection, but CEH is active. So that kind of really hurts Darrell Williams. He'll still get plenty of work. So if you're desperate, like no problem. But I do really like Kenyon Drake. Just with Jalen Richard is out and he was getting some targets and running some routes for them. So it should be the Josh Jacobs, Kenyon Drake show in a game that could shoot out. So out of Darrell Williams, Kenyon Drake, and Boston Scott, I'm probably taking Kenyon Drake there.
Yeah, and there is a possibility that Jacobs has been a little. He was a late add to the injury report too.
Yeah. There's a lot of outs for Kenyon Drake to end up getting all the work there.
I don't know if I've ever even heard of DJ Dallas.
Oh my gosh. There's a report actually today, recently that Adrian Peterson is expected to get the bulk of the work.
Seriously?
Yeah. So Pete Carroll has completely lost his mind. Oldest coach in the NFL. I think it's starting to show. Adrian Peterson's looking to get the bulk of the work. So if you were hoping for DJ Dallas, sorry.
So for Myles Gaskin in odd number weeks, so weeks one,
we know what odd numbers are. Yes,
odd numbers works. He's averaging 17.8 points per game. In even number weeks, he's averaging 7.5.
That's wild.
Well, that 7.5 is helped by 19.2 last week. So it was his first even number good week. So yeah, absolutely wild.
Yeah, that is. Those splits are kind of crazy. And there might be something to it where like the coach, like they don't do well when they don't use them, so they use them the next week, and then they do well. And I don't know the coaching situation there. They seem to really not like Myles Gaskin. I don't know. Devontae Parker's back too, so they might air it. They love to air it out. That's the thing. His game kind of goes along with like how many targets he's getting and how many of his targets he's catching, just because they're so pass heavy.
All right, so that'll take us to the break. Deej, am I doing the commercials here?
Yep, and I'm going to research these inactives right quick before we get to receivers.
All righty, so I will read. So, with 5 locations located in the Quad Cities area, Ray's Barbershop has provided first-class service, haircutting, and shaves since 2010. Ray's Barbershop has been voted the Quad Cities' favorite barbershop year after year. Ray's takes tremendous pride in their work and in maintaining the fine art of classic meets modern barbering. Ray's goes above and beyond to make sure our clients' level of satisfaction is met. You won't find the Ray's experience anywhere else. Located in the Belgian neighborhood of 7th Street in Moline, Clint's Draft House Pizza and Grill is home to some of the Quad City's best food and drink specials. On Sundays, there's no better place to be. Clint's is serving up 75-cent wings and $4 Bloody Marys all day. And your favorite team playing in those out-of-market games? You'll never miss a second of the action on one of their 10 screens with NFL Sunday Ticket. And after you've had your wing and bloody fix, finish your football watching experience off with one of their famous Quad City-style pizzas. And folks, they know pizza. They've been spinning QC-style pies for the last 20-plus years. So make Clint's part of your Sunday football routine. Clint's Draft House Pizza and Grill, 7th Street in Moline. Who doesn't need a solid handcuff on their fantasy squad? Grab a bite to eat at Clint's Draft House while watching the noon games, and then head on over across the Moline Rock Island border to the Corner Tap for some libations during the 3 o'clock games. Every Sunday is fun day at the corner with $3 Tall Boys, Bloody Marys, Jack Daniels, and $2 PBR drafts. Head into the Corner Tap, 4018 14th Avenue, Rock Island, and get into the end zone. Which is 2 words, by the way, Donald. Well, my wife thought it was funny, if nothing else. All right.
All right. So inactive.
So
fantasy relevance for the Giants. Nobody is fantasy relevant, but Daniel Jones, Kadarius Toney, who's been a big disappointment, Sterling Shepard, the Dolphins, as Nick said previously, no Phillip Lindsay, and no former Bear Adam Shaheen. The Colts, no Marlon Mack. The Texans, this is interesting here. They now list Jeff Driscoll as tight end Jeff Driscoll. No longer quarterback Jeff Driscoll, but tight end Jeff Driscoll inactive. David Johnson officially inactive. No Jordan Akins. For the Vikings, no Kellen Mond, no Amir Smith-Marset, no Dalvin Cook. On the defensive side, no Eric Kendricks or Anthony Barr. Christian Darrisaw, their tackle, also out. The Lions will obviously, as it's been well publicized, no Swift. The
Speaking
Eagles,
of now
no,
fantasy relevant people,
no Hurts, no Howard. The Jets, no LaMichael Pirine. The Cardinals, no Trace McSorley or Andy Isabella. No Justin Pugh as well. The Bears, no Fields, no Damian Williams, no Allen Robinson, no Marquise Brown, no Akeem Hicks. The Chargers are down Asante Samuels Jr. The Bengals, no Riley Reef, no Trey Hopkins. Chris Evans is out again, and their Mike Thomas is out as well. Buccaneers, Jordan Whitehead, safety, is out. Falcons, no Wayne Gallman. And that's it for the noon games. So keep an eye out for those other players in the late games. James Robinson, I know, is late questionable this week. Same with Josh Jacobs. Ben Roethlisberger might decide just to retire around 3 o'clock. So keep an eye out for that one.
he is such a drama queen. Every year, it's something. Every year around week 13, it's something. It's, oh, my foot's in a boot. I may never walk again. Oh, I've hurt my pinky picking up a slice of pizza. I may never throw a football again. Now this year, it's, oh, I might retire. Get out of here.
Doug really hates Big Ben. All right.
Rapists are generally pretty low on my list, yes.
Taking a look at the wide receivers. So Nick, the big guy we're different here on is, well, let's talk about Keenan Allen and Jamar Chase. You have Allen at 4. I have Allen at 6, and then you have Chase at, I can't count.
Hold on, let me.
You have him at 9. I have him at 5.
Yep, you're seeing it live, folks. Adding to the spreadsheet. There we. Oh boy. 1 second. All right, that's some content right there. But yeah, so I have Allen at 4. I have Chase at 9. It's just there's a lot more that could go wrong for Chase. He's kind of got a higher ADOT, so he gets targeted down the field a little bit more target competition with T. Higgins. And like I said, I think my projections kind of have the Bengals as a little bit more run heavy, just because the Chargers give up a lot to the run. They kind of let you beat them there. And so I think like Mixon will have a big game, whereas like I think the Bengals run defense is actually a lot more solid than people think. So I think both teams are going to score. I just think it's more likely that the Chargers score through the air, throwing the ball to Eckler, to Allen, and hopefully downfield to Mike Williams for once.
Absolutely. Doug sent me something about Io DeSumo. I'm excited to read that. What are we? I know that we said we're right on cue here with Deontay Johnson. I know you said DFS wise, not really a thing, but you're definitely going him as a wide receiver 1 here, especially in season long, correct?
Yeah. So yeah, I have him at wide receiver 7. They're at home, man. I'm really warming up to like just like an absolutely just psychotic Ben stack. Like Ben, Deontay, Freiermuth, just throw it in one of those $1 million contests and just plug in like all the other popular plays, and you might win $1 million. I'm starting to get a feeling like I'm wearing the Steelers hats. I'll take this with a grain of salt. I just have a feeling that this game is going to be one of those classic Ravens Steelers games that it's like 38-35. We see the ghost of Big Ben reemerge, and Deontay has a big game. He's getting something crazy in 23 of his last 27 games or something like that. He has at least 10 targets. That is absurd. Absurd. No wide receiver is getting that type of volume.
I'd mentioned this. I was very, what you would say, hungover during this show, but I had told Doug a few weeks back that I think Deontay Johnson is an elite PPR option. I just think that he's a guy that, based on his target share, that he just definitely is a guy that you just want in your lineup. and he's not going to put up those flashy numbers, but he's going to get those targets. He might catch 10 passes for 100 yards, and that's a quality wide receiver one game.
Yeah.
We're both pretty high on Godwin and Evans. Have them both there in our top 10.
Mm-hmm.
I know that there's definitely a scenario that they're both finished that way. What are you kind of seeing there?
So Fournette, Gronk, Godwin, Evans, they're all like real high in everyone's rankings, projecting all really well. It's really unlikely that they all get there. I'd say out of those 4, 2 will probably come in a little disappointing where you don't get that like monster game, but I don't think any of them come in where they like completely airball,
Yeah,
because sure. I think the most likely way that this game plays out is that Tampa Bay comes in and just steamrolls them in the first half. Hopefully they spread the love around a little bit, and then they kind of clock the game with Fournette, kind of like what you saw, I think, last week, where he scored a bunch of touchdowns. It kind of depends on where the touchdown goes, and that's hard to predict. But Atlanta as a team, like I said, you can just do whatever you want on them. So it's like kind of hard to like they're not funneling touches in any one position. So start them all with confidence, but just know that they're not all going to get there.
We had talked briefly about DK on the quarterback segment. I'm probably I'd jump him up to number 12 here, especially with the report that Hopkins could be limited on a pitch count first game back. What are your thoughts with DK here?
So I have DK as a fringe wide receiver too in 12 team leagues. I have him as wide receiver 24.
Yeah.
Squeaky wheel narrative. It all depends on Russell Wilson. Like, is his finger like still injured? Like he's out there, but I don't think that a big part of his game is here's a fun fact about Russell Wilson. He has enormous hands. So his hand size like correlates really well with like being able to throw a deep ball. And that's like, he's throwing the ball in the end zone more than any other quarterback. And that's where DK Metcalf makes his money. So if that finger's feeling better, he can grip the ball a little bit better. I think he'll push the ball downfield, and they have to. I mean, if there are reports coming out that Adrian Peterson is going to get a lot of work, like they have to air it out. But I mean, if you have like good wide receiver depth, I don't know if you're DK, but I mean, man, it's tough. It's really tough to click the button on him.
I think this is a definite summation of skill sets that Russell or DK Metcalf has a quarterback who's hurt playing garbage, and we're definitely probably not playing him. Deontay Johnson has a garbage quarterback, and we're like, yeah, he's going to be a wide receiver 1 this week, just because they're just the different. I know the difference in their skill set. Deontay Johnson is going to be around the line of scrimmage, and DK is going to be around the first row of the stadium. So,
yeah, exactly. But I think that, I mean, you're not benching DK. I'll say
right,
it right now. Yeah. I think maybe last week it made sense, but they definitely are going to push the ball to him. I think Russell Wilson, he came back too early from that injury, but I think he's now in that window of like what a normal human being would come back from what's called mallet finger, which I think was like 8 to 10 weeks.
I love the name of that.
Yeah, right. So, yeah, I have him like this is, I mean, what a sign of the times. Darnell Mooney, I have as wide receiver 21 over DK Metcalf.
So I do want, there was a name here that we're a little different on, but I definitely want your take on this guy, and I'm here for him. Jalen Waddle. You have him as wide receiver 12. I have him as wide receiver 17.
Yeah, so like I said, I mean, the Dolphins are really projecting well in this game just because they pass the ball so much. So, and Tua Waddle connection is very strong. I think, I mean, again, Tua's another one. The coaching staff just doesn't seem to like him. You know, they seem to like, I think he's good enough from a fantasy perspective. So yeah, I have Waddle at wide receiver 12. Really solid ceiling. Playing the Giants. I just think the Giants are a dumpster fire. Yeah, fire up Waddle with confidence today. Waddle is one of those ones where he might be sitting in your flex and you have like someone on your bench, like maybe like a Mike Williams, right? And you're like, who do I go with here? Like, definitely fire up Waddle.
So here's my wide receiver threes for the week. What are you looking at? Because we did address this. I said this previously about the Chiefs' bad defense. Are you trusting Sutton or Judy this week?
Man, Judy just. So here's the thing. Here's a really interesting. Judy's really interesting this week because I think he's better. With Melvin Gordon out, I don't know that their game plan will kind of revolve around the 1-2 punch that it used to. I think Javonte Williams will still get plenty of work. And especially with like the Chiefs, hopefully will be putting up points. I think they will. Denver's defense is solid. Is that game home or away for Denver?
That's at Kansas City.
So it's in Kansas City. Like I think Teddy's going to have to air it out. So that might be a really sneaky one. I kind of like Judy a lot this week. I might actually play around with some Judy in GAPPs like tournaments on DFS.
Yeah, I'll definitely be. Well, that's the night game, so I'll definitely be. I'll definitely be showdowning that game because I love playing the showdown for the Chiefs game. Have a little extra something in that game. So it's going to be solid weather, low 50s. So I'm interested to see what happens in that game tonight.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I love me some Kansas City Chiefs football. I love it even better when my wife can go to bed angry at me.
Yeah,
that's what we're all cheering for. I mean, realistically.
Mm-hmm.
Because Megan is the superior Jarvis.
Wow. Harper's the superior Jarvis.
Yes, well, superior adult Jarvis. All right, that'll take us to the end of this segment. Make sure that you get your questions in so we can take care of all of those. See Cousin Bo Jordan. You know, I'm looking for you, buddy. Wherever you are.
Or Shane Eubanks, or is he just superior at fantasy football in every way? He doesn't need our advice.
I think he just takes whatever we tell him and just does the opposite, which honestly is probably the correct way to go.
But now we have the superior mind of Nick. Are you reading these commercials here, Doug?
Yes.
Outstanding.
I will finish us off. Bad Boys Pizza isn't hard to find. Now serving in 3 locations, Moline, Davenport, and downtown Davenport at the River Music Experience. Their restaurant and bar stay open late, not only on the weekends, but on weekdays too. Bad Boy specializes in Quad City style pizzas and daily specials, so be sure to keep an eye out for those. They also offer food, carry out, and pizza delivery options at your convenience. That sentence still needs commas. They have a full bar at 3 locations with 24 taps in Moline, 32 taps in Davenport, and 20 in downtown Davenport. They also host exciting events such as Quad City Storm, NFL Sunday ticket giveaways, and other sports viewing parties. Bad Boys will always have the coldest beer, and the atmosphere is always welcoming. For great people, drinks, and Quad City style pizza, choose Bad Boys. Serving the Quad Cities area since 1872, Frick's Tap is always a great choice for your Sunday fun day activities. Iowa's second oldest bar is guaranteed to have your favorite team on one of their 13 TV screens with NFL Sunday Ticket. Get on into Frick's now, where they are joined by Smoked Out Smokehouse every Sunday. And boy, does that menu look great. Barbecue smoked ribs, pork chops, wings, you name it, you can get it during your football game over at Frick's. So for Frick's sake, head into Frick's, 1402 West 3rd Street, Davenport. Boom.
Roasted.
All righty. So, the questions. First up, Cousin Bo in his TD Heavy League. Pick one of Damian Harris, Jamal Williams, or Tevin Coleman.
Jamal Williams.
Yeah, Jamal Williams.
Same. And then also in that TD Heavy League, Brandon Ayuk or Tyler Lockett.
Lockett. Or Ayuk, sorry.
Yeah, I have Ayuk as wide receiver 16.
I will take the Lockett. I'll take the roll of the dice on the Lockett there. All right, Mark Carey, pick one of Darrell Williams, Kenyon Drake, and Boston Scott. We've already kind of talked about this, but we'll make it official.
Yeah, I went Kenyon Drake there.
Yeah, Drake.
Okay. And Jake Scudder, Ertz or Goddard?
Goddard.
That's a tough one. I'll go Goddard there.
I'll go Ertz and watch the heartbreak this afternoon. Pick one for your flex: Logan Thomas, Manny Sanders, Tevin Coleman.
Coleman.
Thomas.
Yeah, that's another tough one. I'll probably go Thomas. Yeah.
Okay. Matt Breida or Tevin Coleman?
Coleman.
I'll go Breida. I'm just fading the Jets.
They might run the ball. Buffalo, New England might run. That game might have a lot of running. I mean, they're calling for some bad weather up there tomorrow night.
Yeah.
Pick one of Latavius Murray, Alex Collins, Wendell Smallwood, or Carlos Hyde. Wendell Smallwood, there's a name I haven't heard of.
Gross. Hyde.
Who were the other ones? Tevin Coleman and what was the other one?
Lat Murray, Alex Collins, Wendell Smallwood, Carlos Hyde.
Ugh.
Yeah.
I mean, I'd probably go with Hyde too.
I guess there are no good options there.
How have you found yourself in this position? Is guess my follow-up question.
Yeah. He's got to have like a. Hang on, let me take a look at the bye weeks. So his starting running backs have to be something like CMC and Aaron Jones.
Yeah. I get. Yeah, that's why you don't draft running backs. But that's another story.
Yeah. All right, Hawk or Foster Moreau? Go Hawkinson.
Yeah, I think you got to go Hawkinson there.
Yeah, Hawk.
Especially with Swift out.
All right. One tight end.
Why didn't
one
anybody
flex.
tell me I had no quarterback in the for fantasy sake league?
Like, I'm going to try and help you. All right. One tight end and one flex. Boston Scott, Hawk, and Knox.
Hawk and Knox.
Boston Scott, Hawk, and Knox. Ooh, yeah, I'd go Hawk and Knox.
Same. Sony Michel or Javonte Williams?
That's a really good one. Wow.
Williams for me.
I think I'm going Sony Michel. He's going to get 20 plus touches.
Yeah, I'll go Sony there too. Pick two of Patterson, Javonte Williams, or Antonio Gibson.
Another good one. I'll go Williams and Gibson.
I'll go Patterson, Gibson.
I'll go Patterson Williams.
Yeah, I knew how that was going to
We
play out.
were no help. We were no help there.
This is how it always goes. Ayuk, Pittman, or Renfro?
Another good one.
Pittman. Ayuk.
I think if you're not favored to win, you go Pittman. If it's like 50-50 toss-up, you go Ayuk. And if you're favored to win, you go Renfro.
I would have went Pittman there. All right. Gesicki or Knox?
I'd probably go Gesicki.
Gesicki.
Okay. Me too then, I guess. Galladay or Miles Sanders?
Miles Sanders. Galladay retired 4 weeks ago.
Yeah, agreed.
All right. Oh, this is a good one. Who are you benching? Najee, Gibson, Eli Mitchell, or Javonte? I guess I'm going Mitchell.
I want that guy's team, first of all.
Yeah, I'm benching Mitchell.
That's another tough one. I'm probably benching Mitchell as well. Yeah, I'll bench Mitchell.
All right. In a half PPR, Javonte, Miles Sanders, Mooney, or Higgins?
Javonte.
Or Higgins. In half PPR or full PPR?
Half PPR.
Yeah, Javonte.
Yeah, I think that's where I was leaning as well. All righty, that'll take care of said questions. Let's take a look at the rapid fires. Javonte Williams, over under half a touchdown. Will he score?
Over.
Yeah, I'll take the over on that.
All right, I will go under just to be contrarian. Antonio Gibson, over under 70.5 rushing yards.
Over.
Under.
Yeah, I'm going to take the under on that because I think he can get there on receiving too.
Elijah Mitchell, over under 86.5 rushing yards. That's under. That's a big number.
That's
Under.
a huge number. That's a huge number. And Hasty and Wilson are healthy, so they'll mix in plenty. I'll go under on that.
Deontay Johnson, over under 6.5 catches.
Over. Double it.
Yeah, you guys are saying he was averaging 10 targets, so yeah. All right, top scoring week 13 quarterback.
Lamar.
Yeah, I'll say Lamar too. Love Lamar this week.
You don't know how much I want to say Teddy just to pitch off DJ, but I'm going to go Kyler this week.
Wow, that's awesome.
Doug.
I'm playing the role of Chris Steele of the Bears can do no right this week. All right, Jonathan Taylor, over under 104.5 rushing yards. Also a big number.
A huge number.
I'm going to take the under.
The Texans, yeah, I mean.
I'm going to take the over.
If I were going to take an over on a big number like that, it will be Jonathan Taylor against the Texans. So I'll take over.
Okay. Adam Thielen, over under 66.5 receiving yards.
I'll take under, and he'll score 2 touchdowns.
Yeah, that's the correct answer.
Agreed.
All right. Cooper Kupp, over under 94.5 receiving yards.
I'll go under just because I think they spread the ball out a little bit more.
Yeah, same.
Yeah.
All right. Jalen Waddle, over under 63.5 receiving yards.
Over.
Yeah, I'll take the over.
Okay, that's fair. Top scoring week 13 running back.
We'll go with Jonathan Taylor. If I take an over on 104 yards, I definitely need to call him out. Good call there.
Let me have. Nothing good going on there. I don't like any of these choices. Give me Najee, I guess. I don't know. That's a blind dart throw. Zach Wilson, over under 234.5 passing yards.
I'm taking the under. He is not an NFL quarterback. Heard it here first.
Under.
I would have taken the over on 234.5 interceptions thrown today.
Yeah.
All right. David Montgomery, over under 62.5 rushing yards. I'll take the over. I think it's like 70, but.
No, I like that number.
I'll take the over.
All right. More fantasy points, Joe Burrow or Justin Herbert? And it doesn't give me any type of qualification, so make up your own rules there.
I'm going Herbert.
Herbert.
Yeah, that seems fair.
What kind of qualifications did you want? Like 6-point touchdowns or what?
Well, 6-point touchdowns, -4 interception, those types of things.
Okay. Sorry.
All
Doug.
those things could lead to one or the other.
I said sorry.
Okay. I thought you were just talking about your face. All right. Cordero Patterson, over under 77.5 total yards.
I'll take the under.
I'll go over on that. All right. Top scoring week 13 wide receiver.
Tyreek.
Let's see here. I'm gonna go Justin Jefferson. I don't think there's anybody on the Lions that can cover him.
That is fair.
Easy game.
I will take. There's all kinds of gross. Blah, 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 blah. Give me Diggs, I guess. Damian Harris, over under 51.5 rushing yards.
Over.
I'll take the under.
52 feels about right. I'll take the under there, I guess. Top scoring Week 13 tight end.
Kittle.
Wow. I'm gonna do. I'm gonna say Dallas Goedert.
I'll take Fant just to annoy DJ. All right. Who wins the Jarvis Bowl on Sunday Night Football? Well, obviously the superior Jarvis.
The Chiefs will win, but my wife will figure out some way to get over on me.
You guys like place bets? Do you have to like change diapers or sleep on the couch or anything?
I told her last night it should be a hair versus hair match. Loser has to go bald, but
yeah.
Oh man,
that will not fly. Okay, and the last one, so I guess we're going to be serious with that. What would be your my cleats, my cause?
Been thinking about this for 3 days and still haven't came up with anything great. I do want to note Dan Arnold, he is on the IR for the Jags. He is wearing a Gigi's Playhouse set of cleats, which is a local charity. And the letter that was written on his shoes was actually written by a loan officer at Blackhawk Bank's daughter. So a little local tie there with the Jacksonville Jaguars. I think I would hang with Cordero Patterson. He's wearing a pair of cleats for pregnancy and infancy loss. My wife and I, prior to our daughter, had dealt with a miscarriage, so that one hits home. It doesn't get a whole lot of attention because a lot of people don't talk about losses like that. So that would be my cause.
You know me, I'd probably do some type of suicide prevention thing there, some type of foundation with those.
Yeah, definitely a couple of good causes there, especially nowadays. Mental health really important. I'm a middle school teacher in North Philly, so one that's pretty close to me is there's an organization that started in Philly called Black Girl Code. It offers opportunities for people from underrepresented communities to have access to laptops and coding software and teachers. So really cool program. And the difference you can make if you know how to code, and the opportunities that are open to you are a lot more. So that would be mine.
As somebody who works for a software company, I can confirm that you will definitely make more money if you know how to code, especially as a guy who doesn't. All right, so that will take us to the end of this week. Nick, we want to thank you for coming on. Always a pleasure, sir. Welcome back anytime, as always. All right, so for our title sponsor, Mobile Party Experience, we want to thank them for riding along with us.
Don't forget to tune into Michael and Nick tomorrow night with a little Monday Night Hammer,
Yes.
as well as I believe that the basketball boys, the Points in the Paint boys, will be back on Wednesday. So
Monday Night Hammer, otherwise known as the sweater and the kimono.
Exactly. Yeah.
I was wondering why Sicoli was wearing my granddad's clothes. So
I asked him why he was wearing his girlfriend's sweater.
Yeah, that's a tough one. I'll definitely let him know about that if he wasn't able to tune in today.
Yeah, so
Nice.
definitely tune into our secondary shows, which are way better than the primary show. They keep us afloat here. So,
all right. So for Nick, for DJ, I am Doug. We will see y'all next week. Thank you for tuning in.
Later, guys.